Hello, my name is Sally Pinto, and I'm the Program Director for the Yonkers Newark Neighborhood Naturally Occurring Retirement Community. We serve seniors 60 plus in Northeast Yonkers. We are under the auspices of WJCS and the Yonkers Office for the Aging. We also have a resource specialist and a nurse on staff. We conduct virtual programming in partnership with the Yonkers Public Library on a daily basis. Enjoy the program.
Hello, everyone. Oh, we got so many people this morning. That's so exciting. All right. So again, any props, any support that you might want to have that nearby. If you get cold, if you get hot, whatever you need, you can have some water next to you. And let's start in a child's pose today. So now when you're setting up your child's pose, you can always slide a pillow behind the knees for a little added support. And if that really deep flexion in the knees is just not comfortable for you this morning, you can always just lay completely on your belly and just have the legs straight out behind you. And then you can always add something underneath your head or your belly. And when you first get there, you might kind of wiggle around a little bit and just really allow your body to settle into the space. And just beginning to check in with your breath. Just begin to observe anything going on in your body this morning. Any places of tension or tightness, or any places that feel like really open. And then also begin to notice where you might be holding on, might be creating a little bit more of that resistance. And see if you can start to allow your body just to nice and slow, just begin to soften the muscles around that spot. It often takes a lot more effort to let go of those muscles, of those tension spots, than it does to create the tension. Your knees can be as close together or as wide as is comfortable for you this morning. And beginning to connect with your breath. Feeling the inhales, feeling the exhales. Softening through the jaw and the shoulders. And on every exhale, see if you can release a little bit heavier into the shape. Finding a couple more rounds of breath here. And after your next breath, just slowly start to bring yourself up into a tabletop position. And instinctively, your first move will probably want to be to extend your leg back and release the front of the hip. So go ahead and do that. Hooking the toes, pressing the heel back, maybe stretching through the calf a little bit. And then be sure to extend with both legs. Always bringing yourself back to your breath and start to move through some cat-cows. So rounding the spine, let the head get nice and heavy. Feel like you're pressing the floor away. And then begin to drop your belly, look forward. Feel like the shoulder blades are squeezing towards each other. And then taking some version of this spine movement a couple times, you might add a little bit of side to side motion. Again, really just checking in with your body this morning. Let's do about 2 more rounds of breath here. Just any movement, moving that spine, moving with your breath. And then start to meet in that neutral tabletop position after that second powerful breath. And step your right foot forward. And start to just bring your hands up onto the top of your thigh. Again, every time you first meet this shape for the first time in class, sometimes it feels good to have a little bit of dynamic movement, a little bit of kind of rocking in and out. Really rooting through that front foot and your back shin. And you can always have a pillow underneath the back knee, especially if you've got some hardwood floor underneath you. And then once you kind of move around just a little bit, see if you can start to settle into this low lunge. Really feel as if the inner thighs are trying to hug towards each other. You can keep the hands resting on your thigh or start to reach the arms up to the sky. Really feel that reach and lengthening through both sides of the body. You might feel a little shaky. You're not on one line here, so it's totally normal. Reconnect with that breath, reconnect with your grounding. And let's just take one more here. And bring the hands down. You'll start to bring the hands back to the ground. Bring your right knee back to meet your left. Before we step that left foot forward, you might find a little movement here. Just always checking in. Sides might feel a little unbalanced at the moment. And start to step your left foot forward. So it doesn't matter how many steps it takes to get there. You can walk your hands up so they're resting on the thigh. Nice and intentional and slow movement. So just start to find your version of your low lunge this morning. Your sides might need a little bit of a difference in maybe how deep you go and how much you play. Really find rooting in your foot, in your shin. Feel like the inner thighs are trying to hug and squeeze towards each other. And let's reach the arms all the way up to the sky. Really lengthening through both sides of the body. So even as the arms reach up, feel a little softening through the sides of the neck. Finding that powerful breath. One more here. And allow the hands to come all the way back to the floor. Bring your left knee back to meet your right. Any movement here. And move through some cat-cows. And let's bring that weight up off of the knees. We've been on the knees the whole time here, so let's give them a little break by curling the toes under and coming into a downward dog. When you first get to your down dog, find any movement. You can pedal out the feet, shake out the head. Connecting with your breath. And if you feel like a lot of the weight is in your hands, see if you can really root into your fingertips and really press into your pointer finger and thumb. So almost feel as if you're trying to squeeze the hands towards each other. It's actually going to take a little bit of pressure out of the heels of the hands. Just take one more breath here. And we're going to take that weight up off of the hands by walking the hands and the feet towards each other. So probably meeting somewhere in the middle of your mat. Have a little bend into your knees. If at any point that sensation of the head dropping, so that way your heart is above your head, they're just not sitting with you well this morning, you can always stay in this halfway lift motion. So that way your head and your heart are aligned, or your head is a little bit higher than your heart. So you're hanging out in this forward fold here. Feeling as if the hips are trying to press up towards the sky. And just really dangling the upper body, letting it all go. And you might even roll out the wrists, wiggle the fingers. And then let's all come into that halfway lift. So bring your hands to the tops of your legs, right on top, like above your knees. Feel the crown of the head reach forward. Little activation through the core. And really pressing into your feet as you keep pressing and rise all the way up to stand. And reach your arms all the way up to the sky. Stretch it nice and tall. You can take a couple of side bends here, leaning from side to side. And relax the arms down by your side. You'll start to roll the shoulders. And then roll them the other way. You can wiggle the fingers here. And just standing nice and tall, just allow your right ear to drop to your right shoulder. Just really let the arms be nice and kind of heavy here. Just really let them dangle. And allow the chin to roll across the center of the chest, bringing the left ear to the left shoulder, just releasing a little bit of tension that might be sitting at the neck and the shoulders. Especially after that tabletop and down dog and using all these muscles to hold yourself up. And allow the chin to come back to the center of the chest. And you can let it pause there, always moving nice and slow. Lots of intention and purpose. And again, lift your head up. Let's roll those shoulders out one more time, roll them back. And roll them forward. Awesome. Reach the arms all the way back up to the sky. This time, interlace your hands above your head, turn the palms to the ceiling, or find another clasp with the hands is perfect. And just take a nice long lean over to the right. So really feel like you're trying to stretch and reach and pull the whole left side of the body. And then come all the way back to the middle and lean over to the left. So really feel like you're trying to stretch and reach the right side of the body. Come all the way back to the middle, release the hands, but this time take the hands around the back. Interlace your hands at your low back. You can let the hands stay resting and bend the elbows, or you can even just hold on to your wrists or your forearms. Feel as if you're trying to open through the chest and maybe start to lift your gaze up just a little bit. Take a little bend into the knees. Again, if you don't like that full fold, you're just gonna come halfway and start to hinge at the hips and begin to come forward. So you might pause at that halfway mark, or you may keep going and release the back of the neck and keep feeling like, even though you're kind of collapsing into it, keep feeling like you're trying to broaden through the chest. It's okay and 100% normal if it feels super tight, because this is the opposite of what we do most of our day. And then release the fingertips towards the floor. And start to walk yourself back out into your downward dog. So walk your hands a little forward, walk your feet a little back. Come forward into your plank pose, and you can always take your plank pose with your knees down. And let's come all the way onto the belly. So it doesn't matter how you get there, you're just gonna land on your belly. When you first get there, let's make a pillow with the hands. And then just gently rock the hips from side to side. And start to come up into a Sphinx pose. So you'll prop yourself up on your forearms. So your elbows are about underneath your shoulders. They might be a little bit more forward, depending on how your body feels this morning. And then allow your neck to be in that neutral position. And maybe it even lifts up a little bit higher so your gaze is directly in front of you. Keep coming back to that energy of feeling like you're trying to broaden through the chest. So you might notice like a subtle shift as you feel the shoulder heads press back. It's not going to be a lot, just because of where we have our arms at. Feel a gentle compression at the low back. Reconnecting with your breath. One more breath here. And slowly start to lower your whole upper body down. You can make a pillow with the hands again. Gently rock the hips. We'll stay on our belly for one more thing before we bring ourselves back up. So start to bend your right leg. So you're not going to find the foot. You're not going to take a hold of the foot. You're just bending the leg. So as you bend the leg, feel as if the knee is trying to press further away from the body. So like you're trying to lengthen the quad a little bit. So because we're not holding the foot, it's just a really passive, subtle stretch. And it doesn't matter where your foot lands. It can be here, can be here, it can be closer to your butt. Just depends on you. Try to keep the balance equal from side to side. So not leaning towards the left to offset your balance. And gently switch the legs. So let your right leg come long and just bend your left leg. Again, be nice and passive here. A couple more breaths. Just trying to release and soften the upper body. And gently release and rock the hips a little bit. And start to press yourself up into a tabletop position. Let's move through a couple of cat-cows just to help neutralize the spine, because it does go into a little bit of a curve when we're laying on our belly. So nice and slow. Let's find a little movement here with the spine. And come back to your favorite downward dog. Anything you need when you get there, you can move around a little bit. You can be totally still. Sometimes it's nice to kind of notice what you normally do and try to do the opposite. If you're always moving around, see how it feels to be a little still. And if you're always still, see how it feels to wiggle a little bit. Walking the hands and feet all the way back towards each other. So again, you can be in that total fold or halfway lift. Listen to your body. Press into your feet, rise all the way up, come to stand. Add a little side lean over to the right. And over to the left. Come back to the middle, release the arms. And just roll the shoulders. And roll them the other way. So we're gonna play with a little balance here. So if you know you like a little support, you can set yourself up next to a wall or a bookshelf. You can keep your hands on your hips or bring your hands to your heart center, but just start to shift the weight into your left foot. And lift the right heel towards your butt. So this is the same position we were just in on our belly, except now we're standing. So there's much more happening because you're standing on one foot. You can always use anything for support. Find something in front of you to gaze at. That's your focus to help you balance a little bit more. And notice if you're really sinking into that left hip. Can you hug the left outer hip in as if you're trying to stand a little taller? So we're not only kind of working on our balance, but we're really working on all these stabilizing muscles for balance. Use your breath to hold you. Just one more on this side. I know it's a long time. And release the foot down. Observe any shifts from side to side. And when you're ready, you'll shift the weight into your right foot and kick the left heel to your butt. Using your breath. Having that focal point in front of you to help hold your balance. Last couple of breaths here. So we're working those balancing muscles here, but we're also adding a little bit of strengthening and engagement in the hamstring of our bent leg. So you can always adjust kind of where the leg is at here. And then just start to release the foot down. Reach the arms all the way up, stretch it tall. Interlace your hands above your head. You can turn the palms to the ceiling or just release your pointer finger and thumb. And let's take a long stretch over to the right. Come all the way back to the middle, all the way over to the left. Come all the way back to the middle, release the hands, and again, bring your hands at your low back. So just like we did before, you can interlace the hands, you can hold on to wrist or forearms. Feel like you're broadening through the chest a little bit and start to bring the gaze a little up, just shifting your perspective a little. Take a little bend into the knees and hinge at your hips. Fold all the way forward. And again, you can pause at that halfway lift or go all the way in. Release the fingertips towards the floor. Walk your way back out to your downward facing dog. Drop your knees to the floor so you're coming into that tabletop position. So you can always slide an extra pillow, an extra blanket underneath the knees. And step your right foot forward. So just like we did at the very beginning. And start to walk your hands up the leg, landing in this low lunge. Let the hips be nice and heavy, but find nice strong rooting through your feet. Your hands can stay at your hips or they can reach out to the sky, yogi's choice. It's okay to be a little shaky. You are balancing here. Just one more breath. So this time you're going to let your hands come on the inside of your right foot and walk your right foot just a little bit more out to the side. So moving towards a lizard pose. So let the hips get a little heavier here. Just for 2 breaths, just sinking into this lizard pose, getting a nice deep stretch in the front of your left hip. And then start to lift yourself out of it so you can bring your right knee back to meet your left. If there's any movement you'd like between sides, go for it. And when you're ready, step your left foot forward. And we'll pause in that low lunge. So nice and slow. We're not in any rush. Just being nice and intentional as you shift from one move to the next. Let the hips get nice and heavy. One more breath in the lunge. And then we'll move into that lizard. So bring your hands down. Walk your foot a little bit over to the side and let the hips get nice and heavy here. Your sides pretty much always feel pretty different. Reconnect with your breath, especially as you meet poses that feel a little bit more challenging for your body today. Last full breath in your lizard. And then bring your left knee back to meet your right. We're gonna come off those knees and hands in a moment. Move through a little bit of cat-cow here. And just like we did before, we're gonna come all the way onto our belly. Whatever you want with the hands. You can rock the hips a little bit. And start to come into that Sphinx pose. The same moves that we did before. We'll add a little bit more in a moment. But for now, we'll pause in this Sphinx pose. So a little compression in the low back. Feel as if you're broadening a bit through the chest. Reconnect with your breath. So even though you're pretty active here, just keeping the body upright, see if you can still soften the shoulders a little bit, soften the muscles around the low back a little bit. Yeah. Let's do one more breath here. And just start to release your whole upper body down, coming out of that Sphinx pose. And just like we did last time, you start to bend your right leg. So this time you can stay here and just kind of let it hang, be passive. Or you can reach your right hand to find the top of the foot. And now it might find the foot, it might find your pants. You might use like a shirt or something that you have next to you to just kind of take a hold of the foot. And you can keep the upper body down, or if you like a little bit more of a back bend, you can prop yourself up onto that left forearm. Just always checking in with what feels good on your body. It's always nice to play too and kind of see what you can play with. So our goal here is to try to stretch a little bit more of the quad, the top of the leg, while also just getting into a nice subtle compression of the low back. Just one more breath. Gently release. pause. And then switch sides. Then your left leg. And your sides might need different things. So even if you held on one side, you don't have to hold on the other side. You might be more passive here and just be really good in this spot today. Or you can play with finding the foot. And maybe finding the foot means just reaching the hand back. And it doesn't actually meet the foot. That's okay. You're opening up the chest and you're trying to keep the energy of that heel trying to come in a little bit closer, which is still stretching the quad. So just because you don't have a hold doesn't mean that it's not doing anything. And you can always add that lift in the upper body if you'd like a little bit more of a back bend. You can play with what your body feels good in this morning. Last breath, wherever you're at. Gently release, let the left leg come long, bring the upper body all the way down. Rinse it out. Start to bring yourself back to your tabletop position. And take a couple of cat-cows here to help neutralize the spine. Taking and moving this into a downward dog. We're gonna come to stand one last time. So just start to walk your hands and your feet towards each other. Really use the power of your legs to bring yourself all the way to stand. Reach the arms all the way up. Let's add a little side body stretch just because it feels nice. Lean over to the right. And lean over to the left. Release the arms. We're gonna come into a final balance here. So you can probably guess what we're gonna do. You can always hold on to a bookshelf or a wall. I just say bookshelf because I have one in front of me. So shift the weight into the left foot, kick the right heel to your butt, just like before. Option to maybe start to reach the right hand towards the foot. Now remember, it doesn't matter if the hand finds the foot. You might just kind of reach it, feel like you're expanding through the chest, kick the heel in or reach the hand long. It doesn't matter if they touch. You might find the edge of your pants and that's perfect. Same thing we just did laying on our belly, except now we're upright. You can also just kind of hold with no intention of ever trying to reach, but just finding that expansion, finding that lengthening through the spine. Just one more breath. Gently release, let it go. And we'll do the second side. Your sides are totally different, so this is a whole new thing. Shift the weight into your right foot, and then bend your left leg. Stay here, or start to open that chest to reach the left arm back. Maybe find the foot, or maybe just keep that opening, keep that kicking of the heel towards the booty. Using your breath, finding any support that you need, finding something in front of you to gaze at to support you. Couple more breaths. Almost there. One more. And then gently release and let it go, shake it out. So begin to find your way to sit. So I'm not going to take you there in any kind of fancy way, but just coming to sit. So you can sit up on a pillow or a blanket. And when you first come into that seated position, just kind of taking a moment to settle in. We haven't sat all class because we started in a child's pose. So just kind of see how it feels to connect your booty to the ground. And start to find butterfly legs. So you'll bring the soles of the feet together. Again, no rush. You can slide some pillows or support underneath the thighs or the knees. Sit up nice and tall to start. It doesn't matter how close the heels are to you or how far away they are from you. You'll find your sweet spot. And you can stay sitting up nice and tall or start to fold and hinge over the legs a little bit. You can bring your hands wherever they feel most comfortable, on the ground, on the legs, on the feet. You can relax the back of the neck and the shoulders. Reconnecting with your breath. You can think of this really passively, really just allowing your body to let go. Really slowing down. The last couple of breaths here. Slowly start to lift yourself up. You can extend your legs long, shake it out, rinse it out. Excuse me. Roll out your ankles, wiggle your toes, roll out your wrists, wiggle your fingers. And start to come all the way onto your back. So we're not moving into Shavasana yet, but we're almost there. So if you know there's props that you like for Shavasana, just have it really close to you so you don't have to lift yourself up again. Try to minimize effort at this point. And as you come onto your back, again, just taking a few moments to settle in, just adjusting to this new perspective. Feeling the connection of your back body to the ground. Rooting your feet on the floor so your knees are pointing up to the sky. And just start to find that windshield wiper motion. Just rocking from side to side. Might start to get bigger. And when they find the right, the next time the knees find the right, just pause. Doesn't matter how far they fall. Arms can be wherever is comfortable. Take 2 deep breaths here. We're not staying long. And start to bring the knees back to the middle and eventually let them go over to the left. So you might rock a little bit first or just let them drop to the left. So when they're ready, let them pause. And then let the knees come all the way back to the middle. Find a little final windshield wiper here. Hug one knee into the chest, squeeze it in tight. Then hug your other knee in. Hug both knees in. Rock a little bit. Just a little gentle massage on your low back. And start to let your legs fall out in front of you. Arms fall by your side, adding any prop support that you want today, you need today, anything underneath the legs. Always keep the knees bent or kind of throw your feet up on a chair or a wall. And I always offer to, if staying on your back just really creates any pain or really discomfort, you can always roll onto your side and be in that fetal position. You can come to seated too, but that fetal position is usually a little bit more comfortable because you can relax a little bit deeper. Just finding a place where you can really let go and take these last few minutes of class in complete and total gratitude for your practice today. Shavasana. And just starting to bring some awareness back into the space. Starting to bring some awareness back into the body. Inviting small movements back in. Wiggling fingers and toes. Rolling out wrists and ankles. And rocking your head from side to side. Stretching your arms up overhead, taking a full body stretch all the way from your fingers to your toes. And hugging your knees in and rolling onto your right side, pausing there for a moment. Just letting all of the weight lift up off of your spine. Using the strength of your arms, beginning to press yourself up, coming into a comfortable seat. And keeping the focus inside. And bringing your hands into your heart center, gently bow your head. Thank yourself for making it to your mat today, for your practice, for your energy, for your breath, and most importantly, for yourself. Namaste.
Hi, everyone. This is Z from Yonkers Public Library. Thanks so much to Sally Pinto and Alexis and Barbara from Newark. Thank you to our community partners, WJCS, the City of Yonkers Office for the Aging, Westchester County Legislator Ruth Walter, Friends of Crestwood Library, and Yonkers Public Library for making this phenomenal partnership. And we thank each and every one of you for being part of our wellness community. Be well, stay well.